The politics of 19th century Europe were messy. What's changed? It was made up of various empires spreading across the world, trying to show each other who was the biggest power. They each built up massive armies to stave off war, thinking that everyone else would be too scared to fight against them, or so they thought. Things all changed when a gang of Yugoslav nationalists who didn't like being part of Austria-Hungary shot the Austro-Hungarian Archduke Franz Ferdinand while he was in Sarajevo. Swiftly, the Austro-Hungarian Empire declared war on Serbia. Russia came in to aid Serbia, so Germany decided to declare war on Russia. Knowing that France would go to war with Germany, Germany decided to attack France quickly and invaded via neutral Belgium and Luxembourg, and because of this, Great Britain stepped in to stop the Germans getting any closer. It was a mess of allegiances and old rivalries with two sides forming, the Allies and the Central Powers. And so began what became known at the time as the Great War, the war to end all wars. A new form of warfare evolved as these fully industrialized armies with engines, machine guns, airplanes, and new chemical gas weapons fought against each other. It was the dawn of modern warfare. At the time, national pride was at an all-time high and men were proud to go off and fight for their country. It was seen as a romantic idea to go off and be a hero. Boys as young as 12 managed to lie their way into the army ranks, only to discover that it was not such a sweet and honourable thing to die for one's country. Germany marched on Paris, but was stopped by the French, and both sides dug themselves into trenches on what became known as the Western Front. On the Eastern Front, the Russians invaded Austria-Hungary, but were stopped in Eastern Prussia by the Germans. The Ottoman Empire joined in on the side of the Central Powers in 1914. More and more nations from all over the world joined the fight as the war spread across Europe. Trench warfare was quite terrible. Each army would dig a long network of trenches in the ground, fortifying the front with barbed wire and sandbags. It was a long stalemate where neither side dared advance on the other. Machine guns were a new and very effective weapon. When the time was right, the army would climb up over the top and charge across no man's land to the enemy trench and capture it, thus gaining more land and taking another step towards their goal. At least that was the plan. Spirits were high at least when the first Christmas came by. Both forces climbed out of their trenches to celebrate Christmas together, and talk, share stories and play football. When Christmas ended, they would climb back into their trenches to become enemies once again.
When the Guns Fall Silent by 2S.
Here we see the British troopers who are part of the Allied forces. And they're preparing to do a charge over the trench. They're waiting for their officer to give them the signal. And he's looking around. Now he's given it, and up they go, struggling, but they didn't slip over, so that was quite good of them. Solid stuff. And go, away they go.
Here is the German friend, from where they also charge across no man's land, hoping not to be mowed down by the rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat of machine gun fire, and here they go, charging. Grenades were also used to tear apart groups of men, as you can see.
Sometimes armies charged across no man's land, and they would have to run into each other, and have to fight hand to hand. They would beat each other, and sometimes try to escape, but they were chased, and then would have to fight or be killed. And he's just given him an absolute whopper. We've got a couple dying, and he's chasing after him. Oh, check that, he's caught him, he's given him a good of a rugby tackle, and oh, he's going to strangle him to death. Oh, check the fighting and the catastrophe.
War was a tough place, where even the wounded were not safe. So-called killer squads would go out and shoot any survivors. The killer squads went on for a long time. This made being injured as good as being dead.
Comrades were often dragged off the battlefield and thrown in the trenches, and sometimes they were just thrown and not cared about. Injured survivors on the battlefield were soon killed.
But one day, on the first Christmas Eve of the war, in 1914, after the two armies had sung carols together, it was agreed to have a truce on Christmas Day and to play football. Each side chose teams, although there are far more 11 in each team.
And then they kicked off, and everyone was chasing the ball around and having a cracker of a time. The thoughts of war were forgotten for a brief few hours in the mud. The British and German troopers became friends instead of foes. Then they even shared gifts, German saucy for British bully beef, e.g. And now another kickoff after a goal was scored, I'm guessing now. And they're running around. The camera work is terrible. And here we go. Oh, whoopsie, and he's down on the floor. And they're fighting for the ball. Oh, hello. They're a dribble out wide. They take it out wide. They're going in for the mark, but it's 2-on-1 and he just hoofed it up the field there. Oh, he's missed it. They're chasing each other around. How do you kick it out from that position is the question. He's got the ball, he's looking around. He's just hoofing it up the field. And Jack again, kicking it up. Tongue out of mouth. They break out wide. 2-on. Alright, he's won it. And off he goes. This was truly a Christmas miracle.
Jack Edwards,
Daniel Johnson, Graham Hall,
Ahmad Nadat,
Donnie Erasmus, Sean Stevens,
Anajida Chimota,
Ethan Fenn, David Lane Mitchell,
Tadir Sakanigo,
Nashi Deninga, Callan Walker, Manessa Shajo,
Takunda Raitewa,
Ethan Christensen.
Tadio Kurenjiko,
Tawanda Gutura,
Ryan McKenzie.
don't do that. Hey, Lionel, yeah.
Sit down, please, before I whack.
It's only starting now.
Yeah, because you're
Johnny, you're crap. There.